Kamala Harris is the 49th Vice President of the United States, having served since 2021 in Joe Biden's administration. She made history as the first woman to occupy this role, and is also the first Black person and the first Asian American to hold the office. Prior to her vice presidency, Harris represented California in the U.S. Senate from 2017 to 2021 and was the state's Attorney General from 2011 to 2017. Following Biden's announcement in July 2024 that he would not seek a second term, he endorsed Harris as the Democratic Party's nominee for the presidency. Kamala Harris, born on October 20, 1964, in Oakland, California, is the 49th Vice President of the United States, serving since 2021 under President Joe Biden's Democratic administration. She made history as the first woman, the first Black American, and the first Asian American to hold this position. Before becoming vice president, Harris served in the U.S. Senate from 2017 to 2021 and was the Attorney General of California from 2011 to 2017. In July 2024, after President Biden's disappointing performance in a televised debate against Republican candidate and former President Donald Trump, he withdrew from the re-election race and endorsed Harris as the Democratic Party's nominee for the upcoming presidential election. By early August, she was officially confirmed as the Democratic nominee after winning a virtual vote among party delegates. Harris often reflects on the valuable lessons imparted by her mother, who later became a cancer researcher and passed away from breast cancer in 2009. In a Facebook post on Mother's Day 2022, she shared her mother's words, "Kamala, you may be the first to do many things. Make sure you are not the last." Donald J. Harris and Shyamala Gopalan first met as students in a Black student group at the University of California, Berkeley, in 1962. Harris, originally from Jamaica, was pursuing a doctorate in economics, while Gopalan, who emigrated from India, was studying nutrition and endocrinology. Although Gopalan was not Black, she was embraced by the group as a person of color and was captivated by Harris's discussions. Together, they became prominent figures in the campus civil rights movement. They married in 1963, and their first daughter, Kamala, was born in 1964, followed by their second daughter, Maya, in 1967. However, the marriage struggled, leading to their separation and eventual divorce in 1972. The children were primarily raised by their mother, but spent weekends with their father. Growing up, Kamala Harris kept strong ties with her Indian family, frequently visiting Chennai, the capital of Tamil Nadu, with her mother and sister. She attended Howard University, a historically Black college, where she studied political science and economics. During her time there, she pledged to the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, part of the Divine Nine, founded by Black students, and was active in the debate team and student council. After graduating from Howard in 1986, Harris obtained her law degree in 1989 from the University of California College of the Law, San Francisco, previously known as Hastings College. After earning her law degree, Harris served as a deputy district attorney in Oakland, California, from 1990 to 1998. She quickly gained a reputation for her toughness in prosecuting cases involving gang violence, drug trafficking, and sexual abuse. Her dedication and effectiveness led to her promotion to district attorney in 2004. In 2010, she made history by being elected as California's Attorney General, winning by a razor-thin margin of less than 1%, making her the first woman and the first Black American to hold the position. Once in office, Harris displayed her political independence, notably resisting pressure from President Barack Obama's administration to settle a nationwide lawsuit against mortgage lenders for unfair practices. Instead, she chose to pursue California's case, ultimately securing a judgment 5 times greater than what was initially offered in 2012. Her decision not to defend Proposition 8, which banned same-sex marriage in the state, played a pivotal role in its overturning in 2013. Additionally, Harris co-authored the book Smart on Crime, 2009, with Joan O.C. Hamilton, which was widely regarded as a blueprint for addressing the issue of criminal recidivism. In 2012, Harris delivered a compelling speech at the Democratic National Convention, significantly boosting her national profile. Recognized as a rising star within the party, she was encouraged to run for the U.S. Senate seat held by Barbara Boxer, who announced her retirement. In early 2015, Harris declared her candidacy, advocating for immigration and criminal justice reform, raising the minimum wage, and protecting women's reproductive rights throughout her campaign. She won the election in 2016 with ease. When she took office in January 2017, Harris became the first Indian American and only the second Black American woman in the Senate, following Carol Moseley Braun. She joined the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, and began her work on both the Select Committee on Intelligence and the Judiciary Committee, among other responsibilities. Harris garnered attention for her direct and prosecutorial questioning style during hearings, which occasionally drew criticism and interruptions from Republican senators. In June, she particularly made headlines for her questioning of U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions during his testimony before the Intelligence Committee regarding alleged Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. She had previously called for his resignation. Another notable moment occurred during the 2018 confirmation hearing for Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, where she pressed him on his stance regarding Roe v. Wade, the landmark ruling that affirmed women's right to choose abortion. In January 2019, Harris released her memoir, The Truths We Hold: An American Journey. Shortly after, she announced her candidacy for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2020. From the beginning, she was viewed as a leading contender, particularly after a heated exchange with fellow candidate Joe Biden during a primary debate, where they discussed his past opposition to school busing in the 1970s and 80s, along with other race-related issues. However, her campaign struggled amid scrutiny over her strategy, inconsistent campaigning, and criticism from more progressive Democrats regarding her record as a prosecutor. By September 2019, her campaign faced significant challenges, and in December, she became the first top-tier candidate to withdraw from the race. Despite stepping back from her presidential bid, Harris remained a prominent figure, emerging as a leading advocate for social justice following the tragic death of George Floyd in May 2020, an African-American man who was murdered in police custody. Her advocacy helped quiet some critics who had previously accused her of neglecting investigations into police misconduct during her tenure as Attorney General. However, others argued that her shift towards reform was a political tactic to leverage the growing public demand for social change. As racial injustice gained national prominence, many Democrats urged Biden, the party's presumed nominee, to select a Black woman, an essential demographic for his electoral prospects, as his vice presidential running mate. In August, Biden chose Harris, making her the first Black woman to appear on a major party's national ticket. In November, she achieved another milestone by becoming the first Black woman elected as Vice President of the United States. Throughout her political journey, Harris has consistently honored the Black women who have paved the way for her achievements. She frequently emphasizes the legacy of Shirley Chisholm, the first Black woman elected to Congress and the first Black candidate to pursue a major party's presidential nomination in 1972. In a 2019 interview, Harris expressed her admiration for Chisholm, stating, "She reminds me of one of the many sayings my mother had, 'Don't you let anybody tell you who you are. You tell them who you are.' That was Shirley Chisholm, unbought and unbossed. I stand, as so many of us do, on her shoulders." In the weeks following the election, Trump and several other Republicans contested the results, alleging widespread voter fraud. Despite numerous lawsuits being filed, no evidence emerged to substantiate these claims, and the vast majority of cases were dismissed. During this period, Harris and Biden began preparing for the transition to a new administration, outlining their agenda and selecting staff members. By early December, all states had certified the election results, and the process moved to Congress for final certification. Amid Trump's persistent calls for Republicans to overturn the election, a group of Congress members, including Senators Josh Hawley of Missouri and Ted Cruz of Texas, announced their intention to challenge the electors from several states. As the proceedings commenced on January 6, 2021, a mob of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol. It took several hours to secure the building, but eventually, Biden and Harris were certified as the winners. Harris later condemned the siege, which many believed was incited by Trump, as an assault on America's democracy. On January 18, she officially resigned from the Senate, and 2 days later, amid heightened security, she was sworn in as vice president. As Biden's vice president, Harris was charged with tackling the root causes of rising migration from Latin America to the U.S. southern border, advocating for national legislation to safeguard voting rights, and ensuring women's access to abortion, which faced significant restrictions in many states following the 2022 Supreme Court ruling in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization. Harris emerged as a passionate and effective advocate for comprehensive reproductive health care, including abortion access. This theme continued into Biden's 2024 campaign, where she frequently cautioned that re-electing Trump would further restrict access to abortion services. As president of the Senate, Harris made history by casting the most tie-breaking votes ever, surpassing a nearly 200-year-old record. When Biden exited the 2024 race and endorsed Harris, she expressed her gratitude, stating, "On behalf of the American people, I thank Joe Biden for his extraordinary leadership as President of the United States and for his decades of service to our country. I am honored to have the President's endorsement, and my intention is to earn and win this nomination." Shortly after Biden announced his withdrawal, the Democratic National Committee approved a plan to officially nominate its presidential and vice presidential candidates through a virtual vote of delegates in early August, well ahead of the party's convention in Chicago later that month. This new nomination process, which rendered the in-person roll call of delegates purely ceremonial, was necessary to ensure that Biden's name would appear on the ballot in Ohio, where candidates had to be certified by state authorities by August 7th. By the end of the virtual roll call on August 5th, Harris had secured her presidential nomination with an impressive 99% of the votes from participating delegates. On August 6th, the Democratic National Committee officially certified her nomination, making her the first Black woman and the first Asian American in U.S. history to receive the presidential nomination from a major party. As president of the Senate, Harris set a record by casting the most tie-breaking votes in history, breaking a nearly 200-year-old record. When Biden exited the 2024 race and endorsed Harris, she expressed her appreciation, stating, "On behalf of the American people, I thank Joe Biden for his extraordinary leadership as President of the United States and for his decades of service to our country. I am honored to have the President's endorsement, and my intention is to earn and win this nomination." Harris is married to Doug Emhoff, an entertainment and intellectual property lawyer. The couple met in 2013 and tied the knot the following year in a ceremony officiated by Harris's sister, Maya. This marked Harris's first marriage and Emhoff's second. Emhoff has 2 adult children, Ella and Cole, who affectionately call Harris Kamala. When Harris was elected vice president, Emhoff made history as the first spouse to be called the second gentleman, as well as the first Jewish spouse of a president or vice president. The pronunciation of Harris's name became a point of contention, as Trump consistently mispronounced it during the 2020 and 2024 campaigns. In her 2019 memoir, Harris explained that her name means lotus flower, adding, "My name is pronounced Kamala, like the punctuation mark."